Hello everybody, Spiral 6 here, and we're back with another tutorial. Because, today is tutorial day. And as you've probably already noticed, otherwise you wouldn't have clicked on the video, in this tutorial we're going to do a reinterpretation of Grian's starter house from the 10th season of Hermitcraft. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, but clicked because you thought the thumbnail was nice, welcome aboard as well. Well, to be fair, it's not going to be an exact copy. I've changed a detail or two, but you could say 80% of the house is the same as the original. So let's get into it, no more beating around the bush. Let's dive into the list of materials you'll need for this building.
Cool.
As you can see, the materials list is relatively simple. And if you want, you can simplify it even further. I've used various textures and added a lot of detail to this build, which has slightly expanded the list. A simpler version is perfectly possible. Now that we have the materials, let's start with the first part of this house, which is its log base. Alright, let's go. This beginning is quite simple, and I'm not going to add the details just yet. It will be just the main structure. The base is a 10 by 10 structure. In the upper left corner of the screen, you'll see a mini-map showing the correct block placement, but there are no secrets here. The structure will look like this. Next, it's just a matter of raising the pillars. The total height of each pillar is 24 blocks. This is just a suggestion. In your world, you can adjust this height however you find most interesting. For these pillars, I mainly use oak logs and stripped spruce logs. They form a nice combination and the texture doesn't become too monotonous. At the base, I use a bit of tough and acacia logs to give the structure an aged appearance. Well, after you've raised the first pillar, repeat the process for the other 3. Okay, and thanks to the magic of editing, our 4 pillars are quickly ready. Now let's move on to the platform where the house will sit. This part is also super simple. Add 2 barrels to each of the corners to close the square just as I'm doing here. After that, fill in the rest of the platform. I used mud and mud brick blocks. Use whatever you like. In this part, I tried to stay faithful to Grian's starter house. Another quick edit here, and let's move to the edge. Super ultra simple again. Yes dudes, this one is easy, right? This is the overview until now. To finish the base, we will add 2 rows of spruce slabs. In the top left corner of the screen, there's that cool guide to help you. Enjoy that this part was easy because now it's going to get a little tricky. As we finish the base, it's time to raise the walls, still without any kind of detailing. Trust the process. It might look ugly at first, but it gets better. I hope so. Let's go. Time to raise the house wall. This start is easy. Let's once again make a square of 10 by 10. Just leave the doorway gap. Here, I'm mixing brown and greyish blocks, like grey terracotta. The idea behind the grey blocks is to convey the notion of a building weathered by time, similar to what we did with the support pillars. Some mosses help to create this ambience. Once again, our guide will appear in the top left corner of the screen. After finishing the base with brownish blocks, it's time for the blue blocks. Yeah, that's it, no secrets so far, dudes. The final result of the wall base will be this here. Now you're going to add 5 layers of bluish blocks. Here, I use cyan wool, few blocks of prismarine, some cyan concrete powder, and stripped warped stem also. These 4 kinds of blocks are the main combo. With those, you can already achieve a really nice texture. But let's get moving because time is passing and you're getting impatient. Raise the wall. The total height, including the brown base, will be 6 blocks. Speeding up time will have this result. Don't forget about the door and the windows. In the scheme, you'll find the exact positioning of where they are. The door and windows have dimensions of 2 by 3. The door obviously starts from the ground, and the windows are right above the first layer of blue blocks. Well, having said that, let's place this layer of upside down copper stairs. Its function is purely aesthetic, and the idea is to break the monotony of the build, so we don't end up with just a simple blue box. Once we finish this layer, let's move on to the second floor of the house. Things need to be looking like this, or at least close to it. If yes, then you're on the right track. If it's not looking like this, well, my friend, follow your destiny and make a completely different house. This next layer follows the line of 10 by 10 blocks. Pay attention only to the 2 central blocks, both at the front and back of the house. Here you won't place blue blocks, but instead 2 barrels. They'll provide a nice contrast and serve as a base for the window that will be right above. So let's see. Blocks here, blocks there, and this is the result. Easy, right? Very easy. Add 1 more layer of blue blocks above this first one we made. Leave only the space for the windows empty. Now pause, breathe. The easy part is over. Things are going to get a little complex from now on. I could show block by block, but the easiest way is to follow the scheme in the upper left corner of the screen. It will be your best friend at this moment. Looking at the scheme, and from now on I'll leave it on the screen for a longer time, add blue blocks exactly where indicated in the blue squares. For your reference, the gray square is our 10 by 10 base. In red, we have another element, the chimney. For this, you can use blocks like granite, terracotta, and even dripstone. It's a very good block for adding texture. Complete this layer and let's move on to the next one. Follow the scheme. I repeat, follow the scheme. And if you have any doubts, follow the scheme. Next layer. I don't need to explain what to do, right? Here we'll work on the top part, both for the front window and the back window. With this, the structure starts to take shape and make sense in the end. We continue raising the chimney and continue building the walls. The shapes may seem strange now, but trust the process and follow the scheme. One more layer, one more scheme to follow. Let's speed things up a bit. If you've done what needs to be done, the result up to this point should look like this. But if you haven't followed the scheme, pause here and try to copy from this image. One more layer. Note that now we're starting to close up the house. The back part already has the wall ready, the chimney keeps rising, and the front becomes a more unified part. And the result? The result should be something like this. We continue the process of raising the chimney and walls. We're almost there. This is the last floor. It has a window at the front and everything else is closed. This is the look of our house so far. Almost there. This next one is even simpler. Notice how the square is closing in. We're close to having only the roof left. So keep going strong, the worst is over. Now let's close the side part of the square. Only the front window part will be left. The result is this. Now it's almost done. Let's speed things up because this part is easy. In this layer, close the square and continue with the chimney. It will look like this. Next, 2 layers, even easier. Let's shape the roof and the chimney keeps going up. I added a campfire inside the chimney to create a cool smoke effect. But this is completely optional. That's it. The walls are finished. Finally, the hardest part is done, dudes. Now let's move on to the roof. Keep going, we're almost there. Alright, before we move on to the main roof, let's build this small balcony that exists in front of the house. It's quite simple, let's do it step by step. The base can be made by mixing some brown blocks, like barrels and terracotta. Then, using spruce fences, place them over all these blocks, and then raise them by the edges, up to the height of the windowsill. Close the top part with some spruce gates. The final result will be like this. Now, let's move on to the roof of this small balcony. No secrets once again. But let's go step by step to avoid confusion. And through the magic of editing, follow block by block the placement of the cobbled deep slate slab and deep slate brick slab. This is our balcony, ready and already giving a cozy feeling to our starter house. Well, now we can move on to the main part of the roof. It might seem complicated, but it's not. It's quite easy once you understand the logic. And feel free to make changes if you wish. But a tip, be very careful with the roof. It's a relatively simple part, but a poorly made roof could definitely ruin your build. I'll keep the video with block by block positioning so you can follow exactly the same way I did. However, I'll speed up the step by step. But hey, don't worry. Remember that YouTube has the option to slow down the video. So if you're having difficulty keeping up with everything I'm doing, reduce the speed, listen to my extremely weird voice, and go with the flow. With the roof finished, the house will be practically done. The next step is to define all the details and never underestimate the details. About the roof colors, I used a mixture of deep slate blocks. That way I get a really cool texture. If you want to try other colors, just be careful. Since the house is already blue, a very striking color will take all the attention. So I recommend sticking to using blocks of more neutral colors. Well, enough talk. The final result should be something like this. Were you able to follow along with me? Can we consider it done? We can, but the details matter, and that's basically what's left now. So let's do it, stick with me, we're almost there to finish up. In this part, I could go into detail block by block and show exactly what I did, but let's do it differently for two reasons. Reason number one, detailing requires personal touch, much more than simply copying something. Sometimes your style and your ideas are different, and a personal touch would look great. Reason number two, the video will become extremely boring if I keep showing block by block of everything I did. So let's meet halfway. With the magic of editing, this clip will give you a nice overview of the detailing process. That's all, dudes. I tried to make the tutorial of Grian's house in the 10th season of Hermitcraft as simple as possible, and I hope you managed to follow the step by step. I know I speed up many parts, but you can always go back, pause, or slow down the video. So I think this way the tutorial becomes very democratic, catering to all tastes. So if you made it this far and liked it, don't forget to hit the like button.